when I was writing all this music for the album, it definitely had a different sound than when I went into the studio to record it. All of a sudden, there were questions that needed to be answered that I really didn't consider because I'd never put an album together before. So I was just like, oh, we can just do it like this. And then we'd play it, and then it was like, oh shit, but what about the ending? And like, what about, how is this shit gonna end? Like, what? Like, because we're such jazz musicians with the shit. It just doesn't really work that way. So at least not for this music. Like, you can do that, but for this stuff, it was just a little bit more composed, and it needed a little bit more arrangement before recording it. So that was something I had to struggle with. There was no, sadly, there was no teacher or inspiration we could really go to, because it was just at that moment it had to be done. So we just, the whole band, kind of like everyone who was involved with, recording it, really helped out, and it became what it was. But now, I mean, I've been spending a lot of time with my buddy Sean, who's playing drums on the record. We've been building a studio together, and the greatest teacher is really YouTube. I'm telling you, like, YouTube has just been incredible. It's always been great, but now it's just like anything I need to know is right here, like about music production. So, it would be not, I mean, especially during COVID is the thing too, because like I can't even go into the music store and like try out gear, all these like preamps and stuff that I'm experimenting with. I don't even know what they really sound like. YouTube doesn't really do that. It'll be like a sound comparison. I'm like, I can't tell what the fuck I'm listening to on YouTube. Like, so, just, it would be nice to try things out in person, but YouTube has been a good substitute for pretty much anything I needed to know about. I mean, I'm using Ableton right now, so just, mixing on there and recording on there. So yeah, I would just say, YouTube. But as far as like what I want stuff to sound like when I'm recording, I just basically go to like what I think sounds the best production-wise that I'm listening to right now. So like right now I'm listening to like Clever Austin, which is he's a dude from Hiatus Coyote. His shit sounds so good. And I actually don't, my friend said he does everything on the SP404, which I just think is unbelievable because it sounds so good. And I'm like worried about all this other shit. I'm like, man, do I just need to get SP404? Anyway, check out that shit. If you want to, I'll make sure I'll send you the link to his new shit. So as I'm writing all these songs, like you said, they're all individual projects, and definitely didn't feel concise, as an album. Even when I had, demos recorded, I would show it to people and they'd be like, well, that sounds really different than this. And just kind of like a little bit confused about where it was going. And so I think what I had to do was start tweaking the compositions to all kind of have a similar arrangement or similar style. So even though the songs were very different, they had a similar sound. So that I'm trying to think of an example here. Well, for one thing, all the songs I sang in falsetto, which, that was just to keep something consistent. I didn't necessarily want to do that. It's not even where I'm most comfortable, but I kind of was just experimenting with the sound. So I think a lot of the sound, I guess Starlight isn't falsetto, but shit, hold on, let me think about this, because I guess, well, for one thing, 114, part 1, 2, and 3, that's kind of like running consistently through the record. I think it's evenly spaced out. perfectly, like through the record. So, you know, each song, even though it's like a different genre, there's always an element of jazz, you know, and that's going throughout the whole record. I think everyone can hear that. So even when it goes very far off of that, where I would say, you know, maybe Starlight is my or maybe Starlight or Price Went Up, they're kind of as jazzy as they are. They're definitely more, you know, closer to pop. It always comes back eventually to this 114, which is like straight, you know, it was all improvised. So it's just, that's pretty much as jazzy as you can get. So, you know, the recurring theme throughout the whole album is jazz, you know, and I think just, you know, improvisational music more so. So I think as long as those elements are there, you know, it's going to sound like a whole project or a complete project.